Hello, everybody. My name is Pollyanna and I look after Tree Sisters in Australia, and I'm also doing various bits for Tree Sisters in the UK at the moment. And I'm really excited that you can join us today as we talk with two people who are very closely associated with the new planting project that we are funding in West Borneo, otherwise known as Kalimantan. And they are Nur Febriani, who is the Executive Director of Alam Sehat Lestari, otherwise known as ASRI, and Mahardika Putra, who is the Conservation Director for ASRI. So welcome, both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much, Pollyanna, and for everyone also joining us today.
So I have a bunch of questions for you. I'll just give the people watching some context. So we recently started funding a project through Health in Harmony, and that project is in West Borneo, as I said, at Gunung Palung National Park, and it's reforesting peat swamp forest. And ASRI is responsible for all of the activities in that area. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. Because we're working since 2007 nearby the Gunung Palung National Park, an area of 108,000 hectares. We are actually working not only in nearby the Gunung Palung National Park, but recently also working nearby Bukit Baka, Bukit Raya National Park. But the funds supported by Tree Sisters is for our work near Gunung Palung National Park.
Wonderful, thank you. So the first question I'd really love to ask you is, what does the forest mean to you personally and maybe collectively, and in what ways is it important to you?
Okay, let me start. As many of people said that forest is home. From my side, I see that's exactly true. If we see forest, it's really priceless, not only the thing above it, but also the underground above until the top of the trees is all very priceless, very important. First, I would say we don't want to lose these priceless thing. They are so important, very valuable, and if the forest gone, we will lose many things, many important things. First, we could say, of course, the biodiversity, the beautiful creatures like orangutan or hornbills, that they can only live in the forest. We can also lose the delicious fruits, maybe, yeah, like durian, mangosteen, a lot of very delicious fruits, wild fruits also. We don't want to lose the fresh, clean air, also the fresh and clean water, the giant trees that can absorb carbon. And also we don't want to lose the pharmacy, as we know that many of the natural medicines come from the forest. So if I'm looking at the forest, is really something that we need to keep, we don't want to lose it because it's too valuable. That's from me.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, I think I'll just echoing what Febri has mentioned. But first, let me just say that if we lose our rainforest, it's game over for all of us. You know, our rainforest is so precious that our life depending on it. So from the food on the table that we have, water, oxygen, medicine, climate regulation, and so much more. And really, if you look at the benefit of the rainforest itself, it's numerous, right? And then second, we also need to understand that we cannot be healthy and thrive without healthy and natural ecosystems. And we often forget that we're living on the same planets. Oh, if the rainforest in Indonesia destroyed, or it's Indonesians problem. No, it's not, because we're living in the same planet. So if we lose our forests here in Indonesia, it will affect the whole air circulations, oxygen circulations. And it's just we just oftenly look at things in silos. We put them in a separate things, and we forget that they are connected to each other, that we connect to our forests, we connect to the ecosystem that we're living in. So I think, yeah, that's uh, what I think about the meaning of the forest. And also many communities around the world living around the forest, that really, really depending on the forest as much as they did. I mean, compared to us who may be living in the city, if the forest is gone, I mean, their livelihood is gone as well. Their food, the food of the source of the community is gone, and if their, life affected, our life is also affected. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and it's provide a lot of jobs all around the world as well. So not just tangible, useful of the forest, but also a lot of, benefit of the forest that we have not yet seen, but we forgot that it's there.
Yeah, thank you. Those communities that live in and around the forest, do they have like a deeper relationship with the forest over and above the food and medicine? Like, is there a spiritual aspect to their relationship with the forest?
As far as I know, for spiritual, Malay is not really much into it, but for Dayak people, I guess it's more attached to the forest. Like they're also having this in the customary law, like do not cut the forest, for example. So that's they're more attached than Malay, but mostly for Malay people, we're more into food and also medicines.
Yeah, I think
Dika, do
in
you
addition,
have?
yes, in addition to that, I think in the context of Gunung Palung National Park, where we're working at the moment, some of the people here are migrating from Java, so they don't really have like historic ties with the forest. So that's why they see the forest as how can I say, like as a saving, where you can always, if you need something, you go to the forest. You need money, you go to the forest. You need food, you go to the forest. But with indigenous community in our replication site in Bukit Baka, Bukit Raya National Park, they are indigenous community, so they have really strong ties with the forest. They honor the forest, and they really have so like strong connections with the forest.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I'm very curious how, I'd love to hear from both of you how you got involved with ASRI, and also how you're involved with the project at Gunung Palung National Park.
Okay, so for me, of course, it started when I saw the vacancy in 2018. So my background is public health and also development. So I work with NGOs before, and mostly in health field. But lastly, I learned more about environment when I work with the IFRC in the area of disaster risk reduction and also and community resilience. So this combination of experience of the health, public health, and environment, I think, is a perfect combination also for ASRI. So I replaced the former executive director. I come back to my hometown because I actually come from West Borneo, and so here I am trying to restore the home. And the project with nearby in Gunung Palung, yeah, the restoration that we do is in the Gunung Palung National Park also. As the executive director, of course, I responsible, not directly, but Dika is more direct in this project. But of course, this is very important, as the restoration, reforestation is the a core of what ASRI is doing. Dika, please.
Yeah, as for me, I also saw the vacancy. I actually applied for Fabri's role in the beginning, but so we're kind of like rivalry in the beginning. But yeah, I'm so happy that Febri got it, and I was offered as a conservations program manager in the beginning. So when I joined, I offered as a conservations program manager, and then 1 year that I joined the program, or 2 years, I got promoted to program director. So, but my knowledge with Gunung Palung National Park has started in 2010 when I did my master. So I did studied endangered tropical trees. I studied their genetics in Gunung Palung, so I took samples,
Wow.
and then I went back to Gunung Palung again for my PhD work in different species, but still endangered tropical tree species. And then yeah, and then I joined ASRI in 2018 at the same time as Febri did, and then I just mesmerized with the project, and I learned a lot actually. So I gained more than what I actually deliver for the project itself, because I don't really have any background in medical health whatsoever. So it's it's so nice for me to know, or to learn different type of multidisciplinary, outside of my area of expertise.
Yeah, great. So Febri, one of the things you said made me think about the uniqueness of what Health in Harmony and ASRI are doing, which is the combination of the healthcare and the environmental aspect. And I'd really love to hear from both of you how that came about, and anything else that you'd like to share about that combination, because that's quite unique. For TreeSisters has got 11 different projects, and this is the first one that we've got which combines health and environment in this way. So I'd really love to hear from you both about that.
Yeah, exactly. This is also very, very interesting personally for me too, like working in the same building where you can see the health professional working at the same building with the conservationist, with the educators, environment educators. So it's very nice to see, very and also we knew that ASRI, uh, we have clinic, medical center, and it's the only one medical center who that applying the non-cash payment, especially the seedlings in Indonesia, and maybe in the world too. We don't know, but
So
ASRI
that's
started
when
since.
people they can pay for their healthcare with seedlings. Is that right?
Yes. So the patients can pay with seedlings, but not only seedlings, actually, they can also pay with handicrafts. They can also pay with manure, labor too. But the most popular non-cash payment is the seedlings. Last year
Wow.
only, we received more than 23,000
Wow.
trees from the patients. So for the healthcare and some also for deposits, for savings. So it's the only one in Indonesia, uh, maybe also in the world, that has this system very structured and started in 2007 until now. It's more than 65,000 seedlings have been
Wow.
given by the patients. Yeah. So we are so proud of this um, approach, and they're all native Borneo species. The trees where we value more for the trees that is more rarely, so the rare species will be valued more than the common species. And because we know the strong relation between human health and forest health. So the more we know about it, the more we valued both. The community also, we need to work on their health. Otherwise, if they are sick, they can't get enough livelihood. So they can go to forest and log the forest, the trees. So if they're both healthy and we support with the economic opportunities as well, the education, so this will be a comprehensive approach to save both the people and the forest.
Thank you.
Dika, wanna?
And I think I'd like to add something into that as well. I think what makes our program unique is that we implemented radical listening. I don't know if you have heard about it. It's the method that we use in our program, where we go to communities and then sit together with them and then spend hours and hours listening to them. And our program is actually built up based on the solutions that came from community who wanted to protect the forest, but they couldn't. So they were often logging to pay for healthcare, for food on the table, to support their family. So they said, after in the beginning of the radical listening, I believe that they said that if they had an access to high quality, affordable healthcare and training in organic farming, they could stop logging, and they did. I mean, we've seen it
Wow.
from the baseline results that we did. And I think another interesting things about our project is that the fact that we don't just want to see the forest thriving, but we also want to see people thriving. And both can thriving. We don't really have to choose, and that's what the uniqueness about the program. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that recognition that, you know, human health and forest health is intertwined. And also, we human beings, we are part of nature. So it seems crazy to separate everything out when it's actually all interconnected. So I'd love to hear what it is that both of you most enjoy or like or feel proud of about the project. That would be really great.
For me, from ASRI, from this project, the reforestation project done by ASRI, I learned something that I didn't knew before. Like we can't do tree planting only to reach numbers of trees. Say 1 million trees, we plant 1 million trees. Is that really important? No, for ASRI, that's not really important. The how we do it is we really need to keep an eye on the number of species. We plant various of trees, the tree species, so that the many animals can live in. If we only plant one tree species, then only very few animals who will come.
Mm,
But with more animals who will come and live in this new habitat, there will be more trees coming because they will come from other place and bring seeds and put it there, and so more
Yeah.
tree species will come. It will be then back into the nature, how the forest is really the origin of the nature, the forest. So that is what I value the most, that we don't do tree planting only for like making it green. We don't only plant trees that is fast growing. We don't do that. We value slow growing, also very important. Most important, we want to protect the biodiversity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
very philosophical. Yeah, and I think as for me, I work a lot in the background of academic and research. So I've never really been working directly with community, and it provides me a lot of challenge, and then I need to low my standard, low my like try to swift switch my angle and then perspective,
Yeah.
and then try to see things from different perspective, and then try to put myself in their shoes as well. And it's so difficult, working with community, especially with community that has been um getting a promises, getting support, but or program have been implemented, but they've been using as an object for a while. So there's a lot of uh, effort that need to be done to build trust with community. And we believe at ASRI that community is the center of our work. And you know that we need to work closely with them. We need to to maintain their trust, and at the same time we need to work collaboratively with park officer, local government, other NGOs, or even grantors or donor that can make our programs happen. So yeah, but the beauty thing about working at ASRI is that ASRI does not really focusing on problems, but ASRI are focusing on possibilities, because it provides us with more opportunities. And yeah, that's I think that's the thing that I really love working with ASRI.
Yeah. It's such an inspiring, the whole project and what ASRI does and the combination of health and environment. It's so inspiring. So another question I have for you is, what would you like others to know about the area where the project is and about the project itself? Like maybe you'd like to speak to um, how the project got off the ground, um, what's happened since it began, any challenges or big kind of wins that you've had in whatever part of the project. It would be lovely to hear just some more details from you both about things that our audience might be interested to hear about the project.
um, I think that we are trying always to improve our reforestation project is one thing that I want to share to you. So this year we try really to we want to be more eco-friendly in doing the reforestation project. We want to reduce our we want to reduce using plastic. Usually we use thousands of polybags for our reforestation program in our nursery, especially. So we know it, but it's really challenging. We need that. We need that to grow the seedlings. So this year we talked with the Gunung Palung National Park officers, and we already work with a group of women near the Gunung Palung National Park, we make biodegradable polybags. So these new eco polybags from bamboo made by women is now being our idea and innovations. We would like to use that more because it will reduce the use of the plastic poly bags. So we will use that, and actually also that can help the economic of the women also. So this is, I think, really a new way that we're doing now, which is like a win-win solution, because
Yeah.
this is the problem, and now we get this can help the community also to help us reducing plastic.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, and another thing that I'd like to add into that is that um, we have a program that we call Chainsaw Buyback program, where we bought chainsaw from the former logger, and then really this former logger who used to destroy the forest by logging and chopping the tree down. We engaged them into sustainable program where they could provide new businesses without have to destroy the forest. And then recently, we also asked them to plant and growing seedlings, so that they also contributes to to our reforestation's work. So each of them, grow about 500 seedlings. So not just making a living out of growing seedlings, but they can also, involve in restorations firsthand. And yeah, we're very proud that they can transition from a destroyer to conservationist. We hope in the
Yeah.
future as well. Yeah.
I saw on the ASRI website some photographs of the chainsaw buyback, these big rooms
Yeah.
full of all the chainsaws. It made me wonder where do they go, the chainsaws? What happens to them all?
Febri, would you like to answer this?
So Dika, please.
Oh yeah. So we this is also the idea of our founder, that we would like to build an art art monument out of the chainsaw, just
Oh,
to
wow.
remind people how destroy. I mean, this is this is actually a really good equipment in the beginning. It makes our work in cutting the tree or processing the tree more easily. But lately it has been using to destroy our forests, right? So
Mm.
we would like to set up a reminder where people will remind, oh, this is the chainsaw. We will use it for education, so we try to build an art for monument that made up of the chainsaw. But at the moment, we also studied, pieces of the chainsaw that can be, made into like art or handicraft that can be sold as a souvenir.
Ah.
So like a chain, we were thinking of how to make an art out of the chain, and then we make a really good machete out of the bar of the chainsaw, and we didn't know that before. So
Ah, of course.
there's a lot of possibilities that we still try to figure out on what to do out of the chainsaw that we bought from the former loggers.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of making a monument and just having it be there as something
Yeah.
that reminds everybody. That's so great. Um, and I'm really curious about the loggers, and now we're talking about the chainsaws and how it how how the process happened of approaching people who were cutting trees and inviting them into doing something different, and whether that was that an easy process, were they happy to do that, or has it been a long process to get people to shift what they're doing?
Yeah. So before I answer your questions, I think um, a bit of the background of the chainsaw buyback.
Yes, please.
So
Yeah.
um, we started chainsaw buyback in 2017, and by the time when we started the chainsaw buyback, it's actually the purpose of the program is to go for really hardcore illegal logger that cannot transition into other alternative livelihood simply because they don't have any skill or educations or land for agricultural, to work with. So we kind of like thinking, oh, maybe we should, maybe we can buy their chainsaw and then change it into a new businesses, and then that's where the program started. Um, so it designed to to approach all of those former loggers that are difficult to transition. Of course, when we talk about loggers, in this context, we're focusing on Gunung Palung National Park. Of course, there's a lot of loggers that working outside of National Park, but since our goal and our objectives is to conserve and protect Gunung Palung National Park ecosystems, so we're focusing first hands on the ecosystem of Gunung Palung National Parks. So yeah, at the so we're working closely with Gunung Palung National Park officer. So they did a lot of like forest guardians across the entire park. And then whenever they found loggers, um, like they caught red-handed using doing logging in the forest, and they will come to ASRI and then ask us to educate them, and then you know ask us to like provide not just educations but also explain how the program can help them shifting from the current job as a logger to more sustainable livelihood. And apart from that, we also know and then have some list from our forest guardians that are living in each village that we're having an MOU with. That, oh, this person's still logging, this person's still logging. So we kind of like going to that person as well, and then try to influence them to come and join the program. And then some of them are after several sessions, they usually said, oh yeah, I would love to join the program and I would love to transition, because they understand what is the impact of getting away from being a logger to joining a sustainable livelihood. It's more safety for them, because if they get caught by the park officer, they can be put in jail. And if they're put in jail, their family will not there's no person that can support their family. So they understand that, and then they understand that they've been destroying, because they simply think that they don't have choice. But now that they have choices in front of in front of their faces, they might just choose that options, and then you know move on with more sustainable livelihood. So yeah, that's how we did it. And we usually do a like a small interview on the using of chainsaw, like how many trees do they cut the chainsaw, how many trees do they cut with the chainsaw when they have the chainsaw. So it also kind of like give us the idea of how many trees that we can save by taking all of the chainsaw. Like so far it's around 35,000, because the average of using,
Wow.
yeah, 35,000 adult trees. When we talk about
Yeah.
adult trees, is the diameter of the trees is more than 30 or 40 centimeters, because that's when the tree usually chopped down by the loggers.
Yeah.
So yeah, given that in mind, we know how impactful it is, from this chainsaw buyback program alone on rate of deforestations of the forest, because nowadays most of the deforestation is caused by small scale logging family. Yeah. But Febri, would you like to add something?
Yeah, perhaps the thing that makes it work, the approach, how to approach these hardcore loggers, because we see them as a father. We see them as
Yeah.
a husband who want to, they only work to feed their family, no more.
Mm.
They are
Yeah.
not rich at all. So
Yes.
they're really living in poverty. We can see the house, you can see the house that was in is in the picture in our website. Say something like that. There, the one who will be rich is the middleman and the seller of the woods, the logs,
Yeah.
but they're really not. So there we come to them and we remind them about the risk they are facing, actually the risk of being caught, the risk of getting injuries because of the trees, and also they actually owe money before they went into the forest because they need some money for the capital in to cover the cost in the forest, as well as to provide
Ah, yeah.
money for the family. So they have to owe money before they went to go to the forest. But now with their transition to the new jobs, for example, they are selling, they have grocery, uh, also, or selling, um, whatever, what's that, peddler,
Paddle
peddling,
shop. Oh, yeah, like paddling.
uh,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, that
Yeah, paddling
one.
shop, and then
um,
car wash, I think, and
was,
then yeah, there's I think there are about
uh,
20 type
farming,
of businesses. Yeah.
right. And so with this, they're happy because they earn money more regularly and don't have to think about that risk so much.
Yeah.
So well, they at until now it's more than 150 loggers joining
Wow.
our chainsaw buyback program.
Wow. And you were saying before, Dika, that saved about 35,000 trees from being cut.
Yeah, we use the average of so yeah, roughly around 35,000, and the
Yeah.
number will be increasing, because when they have the chainsaw, even though they didn't use it, sometimes they occasionally rent it out to other
Uh,
people to use it. So
yeah.
if they're not using it, somebody might using it, so
Yeah.
picking up the chainsaw, you cut the usage of the chainsaw, and yeah, we're just using the projections of how many tree average that have been cut when
Yeah.
they have the chainsaw, and then using it to project how many trees we actually could save, by taking up the
Yeah.
chainsaws. Yeah,
It's amazing how simple it is. It's such an amazingly simple solution, and I really love that. In a lot of places in the world, loggers are sort of demonized as these bad people, and I
yeah,
I really love this approach of you know really treating them like human beings, and why are they doing this, and what does it
yeah,
mean for them to not be able to do it.
yeah.
It's feels very unique and quite wonderful.
And they are human being,
Yeah.
they just they're just not fortunate. I mean, if you are a person and logging is the only thing since your childhood, like you don't really have any skill or educations or whatsoever. We met this one logger that says he regrets that he left school and joined his father for logging, but at the time he doesn't have any choices. He needs
Mm.
to support his father, because his father is too old for doing logging, and then he feels like he's the man of the house. And then later he found out that it's the only skill that he's have. He told us, I want to be a fisherman, but I don't know how to swim. I'll be drowned out. I want to be teaching, but I don't know how to teach. I don't have any educational background. This is the only thing that I have. And would this be the end of my life? Would this be the end of my, for my family, just because this is the only thing that I know? No, we provide them with options. I mean, and then One more thing in our Change to Buyback program, we designed together. So we decided together. So what type of businesses that they would like to do, we support that. And then if the idea wasn't really good, for example, oh, he wants to open small shop, but there's plenty of small shop in the area, so it doesn't really make sense. So they need to make themselves stand out in order to attract more customer, for example. And then we shop together, so we don't give them cash, in exchange of the chainsaw that they given to us. So we shop together. What do they need to establish their new businesses? We provide it with the money, and as an exchange of the chainsaw. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I'd also love to hear a little bit about the organic agriculture program, because I know that that's what some of the is it that some of the people who were logging have switched to organic agriculture, or is it that people needed to switch to organic agriculture for a different reason? Can you
Yes,
share with us?
more than 50% of the former logger has transitioned into farming. So in the
Wow.
beginning of the program in 2007, we have counted roughly around 1,350 loggers, and then just 5 years into the program, we only have 450 loggers left. So most of these loggers easily transitions into farming because they own land.
Right.
And then but they in our radical listening sessions, they were kind of like asking, yeah, but we don't really know how to manage the land using non-chemical fertilizer. Will you be able to teach us on how to use or organic fertilizer, organic pesticides? And that's what we did. So since 2009, we formed around 17 group farmers group, and then since then 10 of them has been registered in the government, which means that they can access local funds or government funds to support their farming. But we also keep doing a lot of training, intensive training with the community on how to make organic fertilizer, organic pesticides, how to, grow their own seedlings, and then improving quality of the products.
Which is also contributing to the health of the whole community and the animals and the forest and the water and everything. So it's
Yeah.
really amazing. So probably this would be maybe the second to last question. I'm just curious about whether there's been any significant impacts on the project and the communities in the project because of COVID-19.
Um, from ASRI, we got some new project after this COVID for the community. So we have a program called COVID Stimulus Conservation Fund, where we help the loggers. Dika already thought about it. The loggers who are now trying to survive their new business after transition, but with the challenge of COVID, actually the economics is difficult now, so like the shop is not as crowded as before. Well, it's the demand is reducing, so they need help in the economic side. So what we are doing with this COVID stimulus program, we ask them to grow seedlings, which will then be used in our reforestation, and we pay them with that. And that's actually really helpful because they can work to run their business, but also still just growing seedlings. They have that. We ask our forest guardians to train them in growing the seedlings, and sometimes they not only the ex-loggers, the family can also help with growing the seedlings. So it's kind of a positive way, and something that we can offer to the community because they really need help in that. And also, like, I see it from, during the COVID, many of the programs is now just run digitally. So it's in also a good way for ASRI to share what we are doing. Now we run many webinars, and people in Indonesia or outside of Indonesia can know and listen to what we are doing. And in a good way. They also, we got more support, like morally and also some financially, like people who wants to involve directly to ASRI.
Yeah, that's an unexpected benefit
Yeah,
of having to
exactly.
switch to all digital. Yeah.
And also, I
Exactly.
think
Otherwise, who will know ASRI? It's the only a small NGO near the jungles. Like no
Yeah.
one comes to this area. But with with after the COVID, it's many people knows ASRI now.
Yeah.
And I think Febri forgot to mention as well. We realize that COVID-19 has impacted global economy, and with our community here as well, it's as well as impacted. So we also in part of the COVID-19 stimulus program, we bought agricultural products from our farmer, and then we distributed the products that we purchased from the farmers to unfortunate people in the community. So like widows, old people, for example. People were affected from COVID-19, or people, less fortunate people. So we distribute the products that we purchase from our farmers.
Yeah, brilliant. It really seems like ASRI is supporting the communities and the forest in so many different ways that are all kind of interwoven. It's very holistic. It's a brilliant model. So I know one of the one of the things that's really appealing to a lot of our donors is the possibility also in amongst all of this of protecting and wild orangutan habitat. And I wondered if either of you might like to say something about the orangutans just before we wrap up.
I think I'll start with me. The orangutan is one of the key species in Gunung Palung National Park. Um, Actually, both Gunung Palung National Park and our site replications, it's considered to be the habitat for orangutan. While in Gunung Palung National Park, we try to protect roughly around 2,500 wild orangutan, and the orangutan that has been rescued or it has been rescued will be translocated into BBBR site in our replication site. So both sites were so special to our heart. And not to mention about the biodiversity and type of ecosystems in Gunung Palung National Park. There are 7 types of ecosystems. So at the moment, we work in 2 types of ecosystems in tropical lowland area and a peat swamp area. And then one of the future project that we will have with TreeSisters is actually located in peat swamp area and lowland area. So in our restorations project, of course, our organizations, it's not directly focusing on the conservations of orangutan. There are 2 organizations in the landscape that are working to achieve the conservations of the species, of the orangutan species. But what can we do as an organizations? Because we we try to protect biodiversity, and orangutan is one of the part of biodiversity that we would like to protect within Gunung Palung National Park. So what we did is that we built in our reforestations program, we built corridor for wildlife corridor, but we call it orangutan corridor because we realized that a lot of orangutan that has been using the corridor, to getting from one a forest area to another forest area, and these two forest patches has been fragmented severely because of the anthropogenic disturbance of us humans. So we would like to connect these two fragmented forests, and then given the orangutan populations a chance to meet with one another from one fragmented forest to another fragmented forest, because it's crucial for their for their future. And that's what we did, and with the help from our donor, and especially like Tree Sister, we plan to restore and expanding more of this critical corridor of orangutan.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, tree planting is the top climate change solution. We know that the cheapest option possible, and every one of us can get involved. And we don't want to only protect one by one orangutan. We want to protect them all. So what we need to do is to save their home. By saving their home, their habitat, they will be safe inside. They can be more reproduced, and we can see them just by looking. I mean, like, if we are lucky, we can see them, but they're safe inside. So that's what we are doing. We try to save the home by educate and by help the community nearby the forest, because they are the guardians.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been really, really fascinating to hear about the project, and especially all the information about transitioning the loggers into something more sustainable. It's really wonderful to hear about that, and yeah, I feel very privileged to have been able to hear it from you firsthand. So thank you so much, both of you, for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for giving us thank you for giving us a platform to introduce our organizations and to speak up on what we think it matters, and hopefully everyone who tune in or listen to can be inspired, and also wanting to do similar things towards protecting our biodiversity, whatever would it be. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really important, and uh, really precious opportunity for us to share this. Especially, we knew that you are supporting our work here to the ground by supporting ASRI. Like, you're not only planting trees, but you also protect the biodiversity and the human here. So we are so thankful for your support.
Yeah, thank you, Febri. And I hope that, that there are some people watching who will be really inspired by what ASRI is doing, and perhaps bring it to, other parts of the world. That would be amazing. And for those of you watching, if you would love to support this project through Tree Sisters, and also support our other amazing tree planting projects, please do go to our website, and you can find out more there about giving and helping ASRI to do more of this really incredible work in the world. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.